Okay, good morning, dear friends. Uh, in our last day's discussion, we have seen up to the expression of total delay, which passes through a mixture of different gates, logic gates, including say inverter, NAND gate, NOR gate. Okay, so where, if you recall, the expression involved the product of the time constant and within the parenthesis term the fan out fan out term and the gamma. So what is gamma? If you recall, gamma is the ratio of self capacitance and the input capacitance. Okay, now today what we shall do, we'll try to simplify the expressions by bringing in the concept of something called logical effort. Okay, so let us start with this. So deriving the logical effort, first to simplify the expressions, let us normalize the time constant of all the gates, okay, with respect to the time constant of inverter. Okay, so definition of logical effort means it is the ratio of intrinsic time constant of the gate and the intrinsic time constant of the inverter. Okay, that is the ratio. So for logical effort for an inverter is simply 1, because it is the ratio of the time constant of the inverter to itself. Now the logical effort of a 2-input NAND gate is what? Tau of NAND 2. And if you recall, what was the expression for tau of NAND 2? So that was 4 times the equivalent resistance per unit square and Cg and Ln, the channel length. And for tau inverse it was 3 times Req and Cg and Ln. So 4 by 3, that is the logical effort of a NAND gate. Right? Now logical effort, what is its utility? It was a term coined by the trio of researchers called Evan Sutherland, Bob Sproul and David Harris. It is something that is related to finding the optimal transistor size to use in order to get the maximum speed. That means it is related to the estimation of delay of a logic gate. Okay, so it helps the designer to select the gates for a given function and sizing the gates to achieve the minimum delay possible for a circuit. Okay, so mere choice of the gates will not do. You have to get the proper size of the gates so that you get the minimum delay, right? Now we are showing an example logic circuit which consists of in sequence, first on one end the 2-input NAND gate, followed by an inverter, followed by a 2-input NOR gate, followed by an inverter. So 4 logic gates with a series of mixed gates in a logic path as shown in the adjacent figure. Using the logical effort values, we can write the normalized delay equation as follows. Okay, please remember that this is the normalized delay equation. So with what we are normalizing? Is it clear? So we are normalizing with nothing but the time constant of an inverter. Okay, and dear friend, if you recall, what is the value of this tau inverter? That is 7.5 picosecond. Okay, so I believe you all recall that 3 multiplied by Req, and Req value is 12.5 kilo per square, and Cg is 2 femtofarad per micrometer, and Ln is what? 0.1 micrometer. Okay, so we take recourse to 130 nanometer process. If the channel length differs, if we go to a different process or technology, then the value of tau inverter will change. For the time being, let us restrict ourselves to 130 nanometer. Okay, so total delay that is normalized with respect to time constant of an inverter. So here we are considering a logic path that consists of the 2-input NAND gate followed by an inverter, followed by a 2-input NOR gate, followed by an inverter. Okay, so what is this? That is, see, earlier when a tau inverter was not there in the denominator, the total delay would consist of the product of the time constant of the 2-input NAND gate and the fan out factor, that is what is there at the output of this NAND gate, that is the J plus 1th gate. It happens to be an inverter. So its input capacitance divided by the input capacitance of the NAND gate. So this is the fan out factor. And what is gamma of NAND 2? If you recall, what is gamma? That is nothing but the ratio of the self capacitance of a 2-input NAND gate and the input capacitance of a 2-input NAND gate. Correct? Okay. And then we encounter the inverter. So that is tau inverter by tau inverter and Cj plus 2 divided by Cj plus 1. So J plus 2 at gate is at the output of the gate under consideration. So the fan out factor becomes Cj plus 2 divided by Cj plus 1. Okay, and added to this the gamma of inverter. So gamma of inverter, my dear friend, if you recall, what is the value? C self divided by C in. Okay, so you know the self capacitance depends on the layout of an inverter, and for the inverter, self capacitance is nothing but the effective capacitance multiplied by W plus 2W, and the input capacitance consists of the product of the Cg, that is gate capacitance per unit length, multiplied by W plus 2W, right? So it boils down to the ratio of C effective divided by Cg, that is 1 by 2, so that is 0.5. Okay, now here next we encounter the third gate, that is 2 input NOR gate. So this is what? This is the ratio of tau of NOR 2 divided by tau inverter. And what is the fan out factor when we are considering the NOR gate? That is Cj plus 3 divided by Cj plus 2. So J plus 3 gate in this case is an inverter, not 3. Okay, and J plus 2 gate is the NOR gate itself. So the fan out factor is Cj plus 3 divided by Cj plus 2 plus the additional gamma term of the NOR 2. Okay, so this is the entire term, and we have chosen to normalize it with respect to the time constant of an inverter. So in normalized form, the delay equation, considering the sequence of these three gates, we can write the total delay. Remember, it is normalized. That means what is the unit of this delay? It is not nanosecond, not picosecond, not millisecond, not microsecond, but it is normalized with respect to the time constant of the inverter. So its unit is tau INV. Okay, not in a second. Right. So if you have to convert it to the absolute value in terms of picosecond, you have to multiply the value of D that you obtain for a given series of gates by 7.5 picosecond. We will come to that through the help of an example. Now in normalized form, the delay equation is D equal to LE NAND2, that means logical effort of 2 input NAND gate multiplied by FO1. And dear friend, what is FO1? FO1 is nothing but Cj plus 1 by Cj plus the P of NAND2. Now what is this P? This is called parasitic term. We are going to define it. For the timing, just look at the symbols. LE of NAND2 plus A multiplied by FO1 plus P of NAND2 plus the second subterm, the parenthesized subterm, consists of two terms, namely the product of logical effort of inverter multiplied by FO2. Okay, so what is FO2? That is Cj plus 2 divided by Cj plus 1, and this P subscript INB stands for the parasitic term of the inverter, plus the third subterm consists of, this is also parenthesized, this corresponds to the product of logical effort of 2 input NOR gate, and the FO3, that means the fan out factor when we are considering the NOR gate, that means Cj plus 3 divided by Cj plus 2 plus the P NOR 2, that is the parasitic term corresponding to a 2 input NOR gate. Now as each gate produces a term LE multiplied by FO plus P in the delay expression, the above can be written more compactly as D equal to summation over all gates into LE multiplied by FO plus P. So LE logical effort multiplied by fan out factor plus P corresponds to the parasitic term. So where LE, as before, it is the ratio of the time constant of the gate and the time constant of the inverter. FO, it is the fan out factor. Okay, so when you are considering the jth gate, it means Cj plus 1 and Cj. So the j plus 1th gate is the immediate right neighbor of the jth gate, and P is the parasitic term. This corresponds to the product of logical effort and the gamma of the gate. Gamma of gate, dear friend, please remember, it is nothing but the self capacitance of the gate and the input capacitance. Okay, so for different gates, we shall also have a occasion to calculate the value of the gamma. That we shall do through examples. Now for minimum delay, what you have to do, if you recall in the last day's expression, what we said, as we are considering a mixture of gates, okay, not the same type of gates, so individual delay we can never equalize, but what we can equalize, that is the LE multiplied by FO. That means in the earlier case it was fan out portion of the delay. Now that we are dividing the term by tau of inverter, so we cannot call it now fan out portion of delay. The fan out portion is delay, fan out FO, but LE now consists of tau of gate divided by tau inverter. So it is that we should equalize the product LE and FO for all the gates. Okay, so for a chain of one type of gate, one attempts to make each gate delay the same as the others. It is possible as their parasitic terms are all the same. Yeah, okay. But for the mixture of gates, so for example, 2 input NAND gate followed by inverter followed by 2 input NOR gate, all the P terms will differ from gate to gate. So we cannot we cannot expect to make the total LE into FO plus P same for all the stages, right? P terms will definitely differ, but LE into FO we can surely make equal for all stages, right? Because although the LE will differ, the FO we can select so that the LE into FO becomes equal for all the stages. So for a logic path with different type of gates, one must ensure that fan out portion of the delay, that is LE multiplied by FO, be the same for all gates, as their P terms may all be different. Okay, so let us progress. So if you have any question to ask, you can type in the chat window, or you can send me by email. I'll be happy to answer. Okay, now what are the things to consider while we are trying to optimize the paths with logical effort? So basically we seek the answers of this question. First question is that we need to compute the logical effort of any type of logic gates, because we never know that there can be a diversity of configurations of the logic structure. Any fan-in gates can be involved, so we should be in a position to find out the logical effort of all varieties of logic gates. Similarly, we need to find the parasitic term for any type of logic gates and use the logical effort and parasitic values to find the optimal delay, okay, and device sizes along a critical path in a logic circuit. Now as we shall progress, we will understand why this logical effort is so important and a concept that was brought about by the three researcher people, namely Sutherland, Harris and Sproul. Okay, so let us see logical effort values of simplest gates. Tau of inverter is the product of the effective resistance and the input capacitance. So that is we are considering the TPHL. So we need to consider the effective resistance that is due to the NMOS transistor, that is Reqn multiplied by Ln by Wn multiplied by what is the input capacitance of inverter, that is nothing but 3Wn Cg. Okay, clear? So that is 3 Reqn Cg Ln. Tau NAND2 is this one, tau naught 2 is this we have seen earlier. So you can easily consider, you can find out the logical effort. For inverter it is 1, for 2 input NAND gate it is 4 by 3, and for 2 input NOR gate it is 5 by 3. Now other ways to compute logical effort, so this is by the strict definition, but there exist other ways to compute the logical effort. So in order to see what are they, let us multiply out the time constant of a gate by the load capacitance. Okay, so that is what R effective multiplied by C in multiplied by C load, right? So you have got nothing but the product of effective resistance multiplied by C load and C in. Then the logical effort of a gate boils down to this: the ratio of the product of effective resistance C load and C input of a gate divided by the same thing, that means the product of effective resistance, the capacitive load and input capacitance of the standard inverter, my dear friend. So here please remember that this load capacitance should be common. Okay, so then what we can write is that you take out C in, so it becomes the input capacitance of the gate under consideration and the delay response delay of the gate divided by the product of input capacitance of the standard inverter and the delay of the inverter. Okay, now what is the input capacitance of the inverter? For your easy reference, that is nothing but 3Wn into Cg. Remember that we are going to consider the standard inverter, that means of which the PMOS size is twice that of the NMOS. Okay, now the other ways to compute the logical effort is that what you can do, you can set the delays of inverter and gate to be the same. Then you have to take the ratio of the input capacitance. On the other end, there exists an alternative method, that means if you set the input capacitances to be the same, then take the ratio of the delays. Okay, so there exist two equivalent ways of finding the logical effort. We shall see both the approach. Okay, see, let us take up the first approach, that is having made the delay of the gate same as that of the inverter. The logical effort of a gate is nothing but the ratio of the input capacitance of the gate and the input capacitance of the standard inverter. So you see that in the picture, in the diagram what you have shown, this NAND gate and the NOR gate had already been sized so that its delay is same as that of the inverter, right? So here for the NAND gate, as we can see, the PMOS are in shunt whereas the NMOS are in series. So what is the worst case resistance size of the PMOS? That is nothing but 2, and 2 happens to be that of the standard inverter. And here, okay, so the series combination of two NMOS transistors with 2 boils down to nothing but a single NMOS transistor with the value 1. So you see that the delay of this NAND gate will be same as that of the inverter. Similarly, for the NOR gate, which consists of 2 NMOS transistors in shunt whereas 2 PMOS transistors in series, and the PMOS subcircuit should produce a value of 2. So we have taken the PMOS size each to be 4, whereas that of the NMOS to be 1 each. So that in the worst case, the NMOS transistor will provide you a resistance of 1, whereas the PMOS transistor duo, they will provide you a value of 2, because they happen to be the series combination of 2 transistors each having width 4, right? So the logical effort of the NAND gate can be easily find out to be the input capacitance of the 2 input NAND gate. So what is that? In case of single input activation, so it is 2 plus 2 multiplied by CG. So 2 plus 2 multiplied by CG divided by that of the inverter. The input capacitance of the inverter, that is what? That is CG multiplied by 1 plus 2. So it again is 4 by 3. Similarly for the 2 input NOR gate, it is nothing but 5 by 3, right? Now let us see the second approach. Here we have to ensure that the input capacitance to be same as that of the standard inverter. Okay. Now while doing so, it may be necessary to size up or size down the device of the gate, say NOR 2 gate or NAND 2 gate, or for that matter any gate, have to be uniformly scaled up or scaled down. But by how much, that we shall see now. Note that the logical effort of a gate does not change if all the devices are scaled uniformly. Here scaling is done with respect to device width in an inverter. Okay, just see. You will understand as we take up the examples of 2 input NAND gate and 2 input NOR gate. For the 2 input NAND gate, let all the 4 transistors be scaled to a value x. X is unknown. As yet we do not know what is the value of x. To have the input capacitance of this 2 input NAND gate same as that of the inverter, that is 3, one must have x plus x equal to 3. Remember, we are concerned with single input activation. That means only we are applying a linear ramp, whether positive going or negative going, to one input A, whereas the other input is dormant. That means, say here for example, it is a combination of series combination in the pull down path, so we make it permanently 1, so that this transistor will be in short circuit whereas this transistor will be open circuit, right? So that means if you do that, the input capacitance become x plus x, right? So x plus x should be equal to 3 in order that the input capacitance of this 2 input NAND gate be same as that of the standard inverter. So if x plus x should be equal to 3, then x equal to 3 by 2, right? Or 1.5. So here all the 4 transistors should be uniformly have the value of 1.5 or 3 by 2. Now look at the 2 input NOR gate. In the 2 input NOR gate, you see that there is a relative sizing between the PMOS and NMOS. The PMOS transistor should be 4 times as large as the NMOS. So if you write that as Y, NMOS, you must write it as 4Y. Remember that as yet Y is unknown. Okay, so what we do, we equate the input capacitance of this 2 input NOR gate with that of the standard inverter. So if you do that, what you get? This is nothing but Y plus 4Y or 5Y should be equal to 3, because 3 is the input capacitance, means the width factor of the standard inverter. 1 for NMOS, 2 for PMOS, right? Actual input capacitance you get by multiplying it out by CG, that is 2 femtofarad per micrometer. Okay, so Y plus 4Y should be equal to 3 numerically. That means Y should be nothing but 3 by 5. So that means the size of the NMOS transistor should be 3 by 5, whereas that of the PMOS transistor should be 4 times as large, that means 12 by 5. Clear? I hope there is no confusion here. So for 2 input NAND gate, okay, look at the fact, the two pull down devices are in series with width 3 by 2, right? So in effect, what we have a single NMOS transistor with width 3 by 4, right? Series combination, so conductances are nothing but the half of the individual one. So 3 by 4 is the equivalent device width, right? So resistance becomes rho is the resistivity multiplied by length divided by the cross section. So rho into length divided by width into thickness. My dear friend, if all other factors remain same, resistance varies inversely with the width. Okay. So here equivalent resistance of series combination of the pull down device is 4 by 3. Why? Because the pull down width here is of size 3 by 4, right? So as resistance varies inversely with 3 by 4, so it becomes 4 by 3 times the effective resistance. That becomes the equivalent resistance of the series combination of two pull down devices, right? Because as we have seen, resistance varies inversely with the width when all other factors remain the same, namely the channel length, the thickness, they remain the same. So the logical effort of the 2 input NAND gate now becomes the ratio of the delay of the 2 input NAND gate to drive out a common output load capacitance, which we name by Cout, divided by the delay of the inverter to drive Cout. Okay. Now this is what the product of effective resistance and the Cout. So what is that of the 2 input NAND gate is 4 by 3 times effective resistance RF multiplied by Cout. Now what is this effective resistance? If you recall, this is nothing but the pull down resistance of a standard inverter. Okay. So for a 2 input NAND gate which has the same input capacitance as that of the inverter, it is 4 by 3 times R effective. Okay. So their ratio means it is nothing but 4 by 3. Now look at this one, your NAND gate, 2 input NOR gate. So here, as they are in parallel, so we have to take the worst case value. So here, as you see, the width is 3 by 5, so its effective resistance will be just reciprocal, so 5 by 3. Okay. So for a 2 input NOR gate which has got the same input capacitance as that of a standard inverter, what is its effective pull down resistance? That is nothing but 5 by 3 times the R effective, where R effective is the standard inverter resistance, REF. Okay. So the logical effort of 2 input NOR gate is nothing but 5 by 3. Clear? So in essence, one considers the ratio of the driving resistance of the gates that have got the equal input capacitance. It is the driving resistance. We are considering the NMOS. Logical effort of 2 input NOR gate is 5 by 3 is larger than that of NAND gate. Now, if you compare a 2 input NAND gate with that of a 2 input NOR gate in terms of the logical effort, we can conclude that a NAND gate is better because it has got lower value of the logical effort with respect to that. So remember, friend, that logical effect, those gates which have got lower logical effort are better than those gates which are having higher value of logical effort. Now why? Let us see from two angles. First of all, as far as the output drive and input loading characteristics are concerned, for the same input capacitance, we have just now seen that 2 input NAND gate produces shorter delay compared to NOR gate. Why? Because we have seen that here we have scaled up or scaled down the device sizes so that these two gates, namely 2 input NAND gate, 2 input NOR gate, have got the same input capacitance as that of the standard inverter. So they are also equivalent in terms of input capacitance, but we have seen that 2 input NAND gate has delay of 4 by 3, whereas the 2 input NOR gate has a delay of 5 by 3. So NAND gate produces definitely lower delay, shorter delay as compared to NOR gate for the same input capacitance. So NAND gate is definitely better. Similarly, for the same driving resistance and thus the same delay, we have seen. Okay, so if you have the same driving resistance and thus the same delay, then NAND 2 gate has got smaller input resistance compared to a 2 input NOR gate. So what does it mean? That means a 2 input NAND gate and 2 input NOR gate, if they produce the same delay, okay, so NAND gate will present smaller amount of capacitance to its predecessor gate compared to a NOR gate. So hence NAND 2 gate will be definitely better, right? Because smaller input capacitance means the overall delay will be shorter. So lower LE, lower logical effort is definitely better than a higher logical effort. I hope you are well convinced. So remember that the inverter with the logical effort value of 1, that is the smallest possible logical effort conceivable for a gate. It is so, inverter is the best gate, but it has got its limitation is that it cannot do multiple input functions. It can do only inversion. So given a choice, it will be better to use the NAND gate compared to NOR gate in terms of delay, okay, in a mixture of gates. Now let us do small calculations to find out logical effort for multiple input gates. If you take a 3 input NAND gate, you see that these are the sizings required. The 3 NMOS transistors in series should have individual values of width to be 3W, whereas the 3 PMOS transistors each should have a width of 2W, right? Then what is the value of time constant? That is nothing but the product of input capacitance and the effective resistance. Now what is the value of input capacitance for, if we consider single input activation, that means either A or B or C should be the active input. So it is nothing but the sum of 2W and 3W, okay. So CG multiplied by 2W plus 3W, okay, and the effective resistance is same as that of a standard inverter. So that is nothing but the time constant of a 3 input NAND gate is 5 times R equivalent CG and Ln. So what is its logical effort? It is nothing but 5 by 3, right? So for a 3 input NAND gate, since the tau, the time constant value is 5 times R equivalent CG Ln, whereas the value of time constant of a standard inverter is 3 times R equivalent CG Ln. So as we have put it in tabular form, for a 3 input NAND gate, the value of LE is what? It is nothing but 5 by 3. Clear? Is it clear? Okay. Similarly, now look at the 3 input NOR gate. So for a 3 input NOR gate, the 3 PMOS transistors will be in series, whereas the NMOS transistors will be in parallel. So what are the widths? This is 6W each, so that their combination will be equivalent to a single PMOS transistor having value of 2W, okay, right? You can easily understand 6W, 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 the series combination. So it will produce a single PMOS transistor having a width of 2W. So that means now this you do so that this gate has got same delay as that of a standard inverter. So now corresponding to the definition of logical effort, it is nothing but the time constant of this 3 input NOR gate and the time constant of a standard inverter. So tau of NOR 3 becomes 6W plus W, considering a single input activation. This is CG multiplied by 6W plus W into the effective resistance, that is R equivalent into Ln by Wn. So that becomes 7 times R equivalent CG Ln. So 3 input NOR gate, what is its logical effort? Can you tell me? Very easy. The tau of a standard inverter is 3 times R equivalent CG Ln, whereas that of the 3 input NOR gate is 7 times R equivalent CG Ln. So their ratio, that means the logical effort of a 3 input NOR gate becomes 7 by 3. That's what we have written in the table. So the logical effort values of simple gates we have written. You can verify as an assignment problem that for a 4 input NAND gate the value should be 6 by 3, whereas for a NOR gate 4 input it should be 9 by 3. Actually, if you can do it very easily, right? Okay, so for a 4 input NAND gate, the size will be 4W and 2W, so 4 plus 2 6 and 6 by 3. And for a 4 input NOR gate, this ratio should be, there will be 4 PMOS transistors each having width of 8W. Okay, so 8 plus 1, that becomes 9, so hence 9 by 3. Is it very clear? Now let us compute the parasitic term. Once again you can see, if you compare between 2 input NAND gate and 2 input NOR gate, 2 input NOR gate has got higher value of 5 by 3, so 2 input NOR gate is better than 2 input NOR gate by a factor of 1.25. 3 input NAND gate is better than 2 input NOR gate by a factor of 1.4, whereas 4 input NAND gate is better than 4 input NOR gate by a factor of 1.5, because 9 by 6 is nothing but 1.5, 7 by 5 is nothing but 1.4, and 5 by 4 is nothing but 1.25. There. Now let us take up computation of parasitic term of individual gates. So what is the parasitic term? It is nothing but the product of logical effort and the gamma of the gate. So what is gamma? It is nothing but the ratio of the self capacities and the input capacities. Remember, it is technology and gate dependent, and always, as I have advised you, let me reiterate the advice, that when you are trying to find out the gamma or the self capacities, it is always better to draw a rough layout, sketch the layout of the gate. Okay, so that will, why do we need to do that? That will make you, that will clearly make out the shared source drain region. Okay, so for a given process, one has to recalculate this term for all different types of gates. For an inverter, it is LE inverter by gamma inverter. So what is that? For an inverter, it is very simple, 1 into 1 by 2, that is half. So the value of parasitic term for an inverter is half. But what about a 2 input NAND gate? I have drawn for your reference. You see that there is a shared, as the two transistors are in parallel, the PMOS transistors. So physically there is a single drain, although as there are two transistors, by mistake you can get it that two drains, but no, this is physically a single drain, so we have to take this value only once. So what is the value of C self capacitance for 2 input NAND gate? That is C effective multiplied by WN plus WN, but here you take it only once. Do not take by mistake WP plus WP. Okay, so 2 WN plus 1 WP, and here for the NAND gate the widths are same, all are 2 W each. Okay, so this is C effective multiplied by 2W plus 2W plus 2W, so 6W, right? So it is, and logical effort of a 2 input NAND gate we have earlier calculated, it is 4 by 3. So 4 by 3 effective capacitance is 1 femtofarad per micrometer, CG is 2 femtofarad per micrometer. So 4 by 3 into, this is 1 by 2 and this is 6 by 4. So this becomes 1. We can verify this becomes 1. So the parasitic term for a 2 input NAND gate is nothing but 1. Now let us compute the parasitic term for some other gates. So for a 2 input NOR gate, I will advise you to draw the layout, and here you find that as the two NMOS transistors are in parallel, so you have to take this shared drain region, and physically it is a single drain, although for two transistors you may by mistake consider them as two physically different drains, but not so. Okay, it is a single drain, so hence the NMOS width you are going to consider only once, not twice, right? But remember, the values of the PMOS width and the NMOS width differ. For NMOS transistor it is W, for PMOS transistor it is 4W, right? So what is the value of P term for 2 input NOR gate? One can refer to the layout for shared source drain region. It is nothing but the product of logical effort of 2 input NOR gate and the gamma value, that is logical effort, into the product of self capacitance and input capacitance. So it is LE multiplied by C effective into, this is W, but this is 4. So 1 plus 1 plus 4. So 1 plus 4 plus 4, I am sorry. So this becomes 9. So it is LE is 5 by 3 for a 2 input NOR gate. Effective capacitance is 1, this is 2. So 5 by 3 into 1 by 2, and this is 9 by 5. So overall it becomes 3 by 2 or 1.5. You can easily verify that for a 3 input NAND gate, the in fact I have shown for your benefit. Just see how we have done it. We have drawn the rough sketch of a layout of a 3 input NAND gate here. So look at the layout. You can easily get what are the self capacities, that is WP have to take twice, okay, because the sources are connected together, drains are connected together, right? So these sources are shorted, so that only you have got two capacitance to consider, here between drain to the substrate, here between drain to substrate, okay, and this is the shared drain, clear? So that means, and whereas for the 3 transistors which are in series, you have to consider no less than 3 individual widths. Okay, so then the effect, the self capacitance becomes the product of C effective multiplied by 3W plus 3W plus 3W plus 2W plus 2W. So 9 plus 4, that is 13. So the gamma value of the 3 input NAND gate now become half into 13 by 5, that is 13 by 10. And the 3 input NAND gate, we know that the value of logical effort is what? 5 by 3. So 5 by 3 into 13 by 10, that is 13 by 6. So roughly it is equal to 2. So look at this, almost equal to. So that's why for a 3 input NAND gate the value is almost equal to 2. Now for a 3 input NOR gate, this is the rough sketch of the layout you get as the 3 PMOS transistors are in series. So you need to consider these 3 widths and 3 capacitances in series, whereas for the 3 NMOS transistors which are in shunt, there is a shared drain region. So you need to consider only 2, not 3 capacitances for the NMOS, okay, because these are in parallel. So now you see that what is the gamma value, that means the self capacitance of the 3 input NOR gate, it is the product of C effective, and how many capacitance? 3 in the, for the PMOS, that means 6 plus 6 plus 6, 18, but here it is 1 plus 1, so 20 in all. See, 3 into 6 plus 1 into 2. So that means the self capacitance is the product of effective capacitance is 20 W, whereas the input capacitance is 7 W into CG. So this becomes 1 by 2 into 20 by 7, that is 10 by 7. And we have seen that the logical effort of a 3 input NOR gate is 7 by 3. So for a 3 input NOR gate, it is the product of logical effort and the gamma value. So it is 7 by 3 into 10 by 7, that is 10 by 3, almost equal to 3. Clear? Now let us move over to an important concept, that is path optimization using logical effort. We'll do one numerical example. We have to find the device sizes that optimize the delay through the indicated path for the circuit shown and we need to compute the optimal delay first. See, before we calculate the sizes, let us calculate the optimal delay. That we can do easily. Solution is what? Remember that the delay expression is this summation term. So it is nothing but the product of logical effort of individual gate and the fan out factor plus the parasitic term. Okay. So first compute the product of LE into FO for the 3 gates. To equalize the LE into FO components of the delay for the 3 gates, one has to take the geometric mean of the 3. That means the cubic root of the product of the LE and FO of the 3 gates. Now the product of the NAND gate, that is LE NAND into FO NAND, LE inverter into FO I inverter, and LE NOR into FO NOR, or total path effort. Let us call it to be total path effort. So we are going to take the cubic root of the total path effort, and LE of NAND is 4 by 3, 2 input NAND gate, LE of inverter is 1, and LE of 2 input NOR gate is 5 by 3. And as you see, as you multiply out the fan out factor, what remains is that if you take out from here, it is 200 divided by C3 into C3 by C2 into C2 by Cin. So what remains is nothing but the ratio of 200 and Cin. Okay, so and Cin is given to be 2 femtofarad. So what is given is that you are given this logical path and the output capacitance and the input capacitance, nothing else. Okay, so it is 200 by 2 multiply out with the logical effort of the NAND gate, inverter and the NOR gate. So it becomes 222.222. You are going to take the cubic root. So what you can do in your calculator, if you cannot get it directly, you can do the logarithm and then find the e to the power there. So if you take the logarithm, it becomes 1 by 3 into log of, that means if you assume that this is the value z, so you take 1 by 3 into log of this equal to log of z. So stage effort, the optimal stage effort becomes e to the power 1 by 3 into log of 222.222. So it is nearly equal to 6.06 to be precise. So fan out portion of the delay per stage, okay, that becomes 6. So normalized path delay is what? You have got 3 stages to consider, so 3 times the fan out portion of delay per gate, 3 into 6 plus the sum of the 3 parasitic terms. P NAND is 1, P of inverter is half, P of NOR is 2 input NOR is 3 by 2. So it becomes 21. So the absolute, in terms of the absolute value, this is 7.5 picosecond multiplied by 21, that is nearly 157.5 picosecond. Now you compute the device sizes. What you do, assume go from the output side. Assume that the delay is acceptable. Okay, that means we are happy with this delay. We work backwards from the output, that means we work from here. What do you get? That means the product of the fan out factor 200 by C3 multiplied by the logical effort of this NOR gate, that is equal to 6. Okay, so LE NOR into C out by C3 becomes 6, or in other words 5 by 3 into 200 femtofarad by C3 becomes 6. Then C3 equal to, you can get from this easily, that means 1000 by 18, that means nearly 55 femtofarad. And for a 2 input NOR gate, you remember CG for a single input activation for a 2 input NOR gate, the gate capacitance per unit take multiplied by 4W plus W equal to 55, or W equal to 55 divided by 2 into 5, that means nearly 5.5 micrometer. So WP and W, so as you know that for a 2 input NOR gate, the NMOS is of size W, whereas the PMOS is of size 4W. So the width of the NMOS transistor is 5.5 micrometer, whereas that of the PMOS transistor will be 4 times as large, or 4 into 5.5, that is 22 micrometer. Clear? Now, having found out the input capacitance C3 equal to 55 femtofarad, now C3 divided by C2 into logical effort of the inverter will give me 6. So LE inverter into C3 by C2 equal to 6. So definitely C2 will become from here 9.1 femtofarad. And once you have got the input capacitance of the inverter, we can easily find out the size of the NMOS and PMOS transistor. So CG into 2W plus W equal to 9.1. Then the value of W equal to roughly 1.5. Okay, so 9.1 divided by CG is 2, 2 into 3, 6. So 9.1 divided by 6 will give me roughly 1.5. So the size of NMOS transistor is 1.5 micrometer, whereas that of the PMOS transistor is 2 times as large, that means 3 micrometer. Okay, and lastly, you see that we have got it to be 9.1 femtofarad. So 9.1 divided by 2, actually we do not know. Suppose 9.1 by C into the logical effort of these 2 input NAND gate, that will give me 6. So logical effort of 2 input NAND gate multiplied by C2 by C equal to 6. Therefore the input capacity is equal to 4 by 3 into 9.1 by 6, roughly equal to 2 femtofarad. So thereby we can verify that the input capacitance is indeed 2 femtofarad. Okay, so roughly lastly we can calculate the value of the for a 2 input NAND gate, the same size 2 input same size NMOS and PMOS, so it is 2 times W, that is 1 micrometer. Now what is the advantage of this logical effort approach is that one can determine the minimum delay without sizing the gates. This is a key advantage of the logical effort approach. Now if this minimum possible is not acceptable, that means you have got 157.5, you want to see by some alternative implementation, say using 3 input, say some by other means, say placing the inverter here followed by NAND followed by NOR, whatever. You want to change the logic, this logical gate configuration. For an alternative configuration, you may like to find out, or say instead of 2 input NAND gate, you can have a, let us say 3 input NOR gate, 2 input NOR, whatever. Okay, so then some alternative configurations are always possible for any function. So if you want to examine, so modify the logic and then repeat the process till a satisfactory solution is obtained. So suppose you get to have, instead of 157, some delay less than 157, then you try to find out the size of the transistors. Okay, so once the target delay is achieved, that means you are happy with the value of the estimated delay, then you carry out the gate sizing. Yeah. Okay, now let us have some more insight into logical effort by giving a geometrical interpretation. What we do, remember the expression, this delay equal to LE into FO plus LE into gamma. Okay, so the LE into gamma is nothing but the parasitic term. Now examine the effect of normalized delay versus electrical effort. What we do, we plot the value of this normalized delay, normalized again with respect to the inverter time constant, and this is the electrical effort or FO. FO is variable. So what we do, and LE multiplied by gamma, that is constant. It is nothing but the intercept on the vertical axis, that means the delay axis. So delay normalization is with respect to tau of inverter, and the slope of the inverter delay versus fan out is said to 1 by definition. That is clear. Okay. So the slope of this line will be 1 by 1. Okay. So it is having it makes 45 degree with the electrical effort or fan out or horizontal axis. Whereas the 2-input NAND gate will have an intercept of 1. Why? Because you know that the parasitic term for inverter it is 0.5, parasitic term for the 2-input NAND gate it is 1, whereas the parasitic term for a 2-input NOR gate it is 1.5. And also the slopes will be higher and higher if you go from inverter to NAND to NOR. So obviously inverter will be the fastest gate. For any particular value of electrical effort, inverter will give me the smallest delay, followed by NAND, whereas the NOR gate will be the slowest of all the three. That is clear. Okay. Similarly, you can draw this delay plot for different other gates. You have to know the parasitic term. So parasitic term will be nothing but the y-intercept, okay, or the intercept on the delay axis. Now let us briefly discuss about this skewed inverter. This logical effort for a skewed inverter. What is a skewed gate? Skewed gate actually favors transition in one direction. Here, for example, if you recall, this is not a standard inverter. So what is the value of what are the values of the width factor of the PMOS transistor and NMOS transistor? If you recall, the PMOS transistor will have a width of 2, whereas the NMOS transistor will have a width of 1. So it is 2:1. But here, for a skewed inverter, if you make the P transistor narrower or less wide, then it will have obviously more rising delay compared to falling delay. So here we are favoring the falling transition. Okay. Had you made this 4 and this is 1, then you would have favored the rising transition. Anything larger than 2, if you make the size, you will favor the rising transition. And here it is obvious that as the resistance offered by a PMOS transistor of value 1 rather than 2, you will have more driving resistance for the PMOS transistor compared to NMOS transistor. So you have to consider the rising delay and the falling delay separately. So accordingly, the logical effort will vary for the rising delay and for the falling delay. So for a skewed gate, as we have shown here, the rising delay is more than the falling delay compared to reference inverter, in which the PMOS width is twice the NMOS width for a reference inverter. But here the PMOS width is same as the NMOS width. So it is a skewed inverter. It is a non-standard inverter. Delays are not the same and input capacitance is also not the same. To obtain the logical effort, either delay or the input capacitance has to be adjusted, and rising and falling cases have to be considered separately for this gate. For example, on setting the delays equal to that of the reference inverter, one can take the ratio of the input capacitance. For the falling case, it is the NMOS transistor that will be effective in driving down, in discharging the capacitance. So falling delay of the skewed inverter as considered is the same as that of the regular inverter. So what is the logical effort? It will be 1. Okay, because input capacitance will be, for the gate, it will be 1 plus 1, right, because both are 1. And for the reference inverter, if you recall, it is 1 here, 2 here. So 1 plus 2, it is 2 by 3. Okay, so logical effort of this skewed inverter for the falling transition will be 2 by 3. Whereas if you want to get for the rising transition, you have to make the delay to be same as that of the rising delay, mind you, same as that of the reference inverter. If you have to make it twice, you have to scale it up. If you want to make PMOS transistor twice, NMOS transistor will also have to be likewise. So both has to be 2 and 2. So for the rising case, one scales up the widths of the transistors by a factor of 2 to obtain the same rising delay. That means the logical effort for rising delay, it is the Cin of the scaled or skewed inverter, that means Cg into 2 plus 2 and divided by Cg into 1 plus 2, that means it is 4 by 3. Okay, so for the rising transition the logical effort will be 4 by 3, whereas for the falling transition it will be 2 by 3. Clear? And in fact you can also find out the the logical effort directly from the definition. Okay, directly from the definition also you can find out both for the rising case and the falling case. Okay, for that you have to just go look at the fact that what will be the R effective for falling case, it is 1 and the R effective for the means it is the same as the standard inverter in MOS transistor. Okay, so R effective multiplied by Cin will be 1 plus 1, so it will be, once again, for the falling case it will be 2 by 3, whereas for the rising case you see that the capacitance is 1 plus 1. Okay, whereas the resistance will be twice, because the width is half of that of the PMOS transistor of the standard inverter, so it will be obviously 4 by 3. So directly from the definition also you can show. Clear? And depending on where you need to put the skewed inverter, either you can optimize the circuit for rising transitions, or you can optimize for falling transition, or you can take the average, that means average of 2 by 3 and 4 by 3 is nothing but 1. Okay, so you can do whatever is the situation. Now let us take up the example of 8 input NAND gate that we discussed earlier, and we if you can recall that we studied about 4 different possible configurations for a 8 input AND gate. Obviously it is not a monolithic, a single stage inverter, but it is a multiple stage input AND gate. And why multiple stage? Because the delays will be less compared to a single stage. Okay, so an 8 input AND gate is designed to drive a load of, let us say, 200 femtofarad, but has input capacitance of 20 femtofarad. A single 8 input CMOS NAND gate cannot be employed due to exceedingly high delay that will result. That is obvious. Okay, so that we need to avoid. Let us choose 2 multi-stage gate configurations that are more suitable and identify the one with faster speed. In this particular problem we shall consider only 2 configurations, although there exist 4 configurations. So you can take the other 2 configurations, also try to find out whether the delay is less than these 2. For the first option, we realize an 8 input AND gate in this fashion. You take 2 distinct 4 input NAND gate followed by inverters, followed by a single 2 input NAND gate followed by inverter. So that's why this configuration is termed as NAND 4 hyphen INB hyphen NAND 2 hyphen INB. In the first stage we have got 2 4 input NAND gate, the second stage 1 inverter each, the third stage a single 2 input NAND gate, and the fourth stage a single inverter. One can note or verify that for 4 input NAND gate logical effort will be 2 and the parasitic term equal to 3. That you need to know, because you need to find out that fan out portion, that LE into FO of all the 4 stage should be same, but the parasitic term will differ from stage to stage. So here the parasitic term for the 4 input NAND gate is found out to be 3. That you can easily verify. Consider a single path. There are 8 different paths, as you can see, because 8 different inputs are there. So from input IN8 to the final output, you encounter the 4 input NAND gate followed by inverter, followed by 2 input NAND gate, followed by an inverter. So this is a 4 stage circuit. Signal path, if we consider from input IN8 to the final output, the optimal stage effort is AC star equal to the continued LE into FO product and its 4th root. Okay, so what it boils down to, as you see, the logical effort product, this is say 2 value 2 for the 4 input NAND gate, value 1 for the inverter, and for the 2 input NAND gate the value is 4 by 3, whereas for the value of inverter it is 1. and it will be 200 by 20. Okay, because it is 200 by the input capacitance of inverter into input capacitance of the inverter divided by input capacitance of the NAND gate into input capacitance of the NAND gate divided by input capacitance of the inverter into input capacitance of the inverter divided by input capacitance of the, so that is the fan out factor. Okay, this fan out factor, if you go from here to here, ultimately this will remain and this will remain, so it is 200 by 20, so it is 80 by 3 overall, and the value of the fourth root is nearly 2.27. This you can easily find out. So there are 4 stages, my dear friend. So 4 into 2.27 plus the parasitic term of the NAND gate plus parasitic term of the inverter plus parasitic term of the NAND gate plus parasitic term of the inverter. So in all it is 4 into 2.27, that is 9.1 plus 3. 3 is the parasitic term for the 4 input NAND gate, half is the parasitic term for the inverter, 1 is the parasitic term for the NAND gate, and half is the parasitic term for the inverter. So it is nearly 14.1 and unit is 7.5 seconds. So absolute value, if you want to find, it will be 14.1 multiplied by 7.5. Okay, right? So 14.1 multiplied by 7.5, that will give you in absolute term picosecond. But this normalized value is also acceptable. Now for the second option, what you do, 2 input NAND gate followed by 2 input NOR gate followed by 2 input NAND gate followed by an inverter. Note that as there are 8 inputs, so in the first stage you require 4 2 input NAND gates. So what will be the path effect? It will be the continued product of LE and FO of all the 4 gates. So if you start from this end, it will 4 by 3 multiplied by 5 by 3 multiplied by 4 by 3 multiplied by 1. And as before, the continued product of the fan out factor, if you progress from the output side to input side, it will be boiled down to 200 by 20. So the total path effort is 29.63, and the optimal stage effort will be fourth root of 29.63, that is nearly 2.33. Okay, so total path delay will be 4 times the optimal stage effort, namely 4 times 2.33 plus 1 parasitic term NAND gate, and P02 is 3 by 2, P92 is 1 by 1, and P inverter is half. So 4 into 2.33 plus 1 plus 3 by 2 plus 1 plus 1 by 2 equal to 13.32. So obviously the second option is better, as it gives you lower value of the total delay. So observation is that mere knowledge of the logical effort of the gates in a logic path cannot help decide which configuration is better. You have to calculate the total calculation, that means the logical effort multiplied by fan out factor plus the sum of the parasitic term. Okay, so delay computation must be done to determine which configuration is better. Unless you do, will not be able to infer which one is better. This is because the delay depends on the fan out capacitance. Okay, if the fan out capacitance is small, then the parasitic terms will be the dominating factor, and if the fan out is large, then the delay is a function of the type of gates and the number of stages used. Okay, so it is always advisable to whatever configuration you take, you calculate out the total delay. Unless you compute the entire delay, will not be able to conclude which one is better. That means LE into FO plus P of all the stages. Now next, finally, what we consider is a branching effort. So far we have seen that there is a single linear stage we have considered without without any branch. We have restricted ourselves to a single path through the logic circuit. For example, here there are 8 individual paths. Okay, but you see the fan out is one in each stage, but it cannot be so always. Presence of one or more branches. Now we consider the branching effort. Why this term? Presence of one or more branches from a given node would affect the sizing of the gates, and so must be considered for computing the logical effort. Okay, in fact, both the delay and consequently the sizes of the individual transistors will be determined by the branching factor. We consider first a situation where the branch is identical to the path of interest. In the adjacent figure, you see that the sizes are same in both the branches. So we consider a situation where the branch is identical to the path of interest. This is the path of our interest as you show by the arrow, and this is the another path. So both are identical. So an inverter drives two other inverters. This doubles the loading because at this node we are showing identical paths issuing out. Instead of 2, it could have been 3, it could have been 4. For simplicity, we show only 2 paths branch out, and all the sizes are the same in both the paths. So this doubles the loading on the first inverter, since both I2 and I3 are sized the same way. Okay, because its input capacitance is 15, its input capacitance is 15. So I2 and I3 both have input capacitance of the value 15. Though one may like to optimize only the highlighted path, one can take care of both the paths at the same time. That means the sizes of the transistors will be same for both the paths. The term branching effort accounts for the branches issuing out from the path of interest. In the above circuit, there is branching effort of 2 in the critical path, since one drives 2 identical inverters. Okay, and total path effort will be what? This is a continued product, that means LE into B into FO. So logical effort multiplied by branching effort followed by fan out factor. Okay, so that's what we are writing in another way. Fan out factor is nothing but C load by C in, branching effort and logical effort. Let us consider this example. Here we show all are NAND gates, but the branching effort varies from node to node. Here what is the branching effort? It is nothing but 2, because 2 branches issue out, and at this point the branching effort is 3, because 3 branches are issuing out. You have to be careful, right, from the diagram. So what is the solution? We have to find out the sizes of the transistors of different. Note that although we have got 3 plus 2 plus 1 6 NAND gates, but the NMOS and PMOS transistor size of the gates will differ from stage to stage. Okay, let us see. Means they potentially can differ, right? In the path of interest, and in addition what we see, only the final output capacitance and the input capacitance, that is given 4.5 output capacitance and 1 is the value of input capacitance. In the path of interest, as LE NAND equal to 4 by 3, so continued product of logical effort is 4 by 3 times 4 by 3 to the power of 3, that is logical effort of the path. Electrical effort is FO path, that is C out by C in, that is 4 by 5, 4.5, right? 4.5 by this into this by this into this by 1, so it is ultimately 4.5 by 1. Branching effort is what? Here 2, here 3, so 2 into 3, and lastly here is 1, so 2 into 3 6. So path effort equal to LE of path, logical effort of path, that is 4 by 3 to the power 3, FO of path, that is 4.5, and B of path, that is 6. So it is 64 if you calculate out. And what is the optimal stage effort? Obviously, as there are only 3 stages, so cube root of 64, that is 4. Okay, so the normalized delay in this case, it is n is the number of stages, here it is 3. So n multiplied by AC star, that is the optimal stage effort, plus the summation of P. So 3 into 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Why 1? Because the parasitic term for NAND gates, 2 input NAND gates, it is always 1. 1, 1, 1. Okay. So overall it is 3 into 4, 12, 12 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 15. And unit is tau of inverter. So 15 times 7.5, that will give me the total delay in absolute picosecond. Now for the gate sizes, how do you calculate? You again work backwards. Always it is better to work backwards, that means starting from the output node and going towards the input node. So if you start from the final output node, for the G3 means this gate, so this is the path of our interest, we are calculating, we are considering G1 followed by G2 followed by G3. For the G3, it is the product of logical effort and branching effort and fan out factor. So 4 by 3 into 1 into 4.5 by Z. Okay, why it is Z? Because Z is the size of G3. Okay, so this is look at the fact that fan out factor is 1 because it is just driving the output load capacity. Branching effort is 1, LE is 4 by 3, and fan out factor is 4 by 5 divided by Z. Z means the input capacity. So Z equal to 1.5, and obviously 1.5 equal to Cg into 2W plus 2W. So for this NAND gate, you know, remember that for a 2 input NAND gate, the sizes of the NMOS and PMOS are same, so it is nothing but 0.375 micrometer. Okay, because CG into 2W plus 2W equal to 1.5, and from here we get the value of 2W equal to 0.375 micrometer. Now come to G2. For G2, logical effort is 4 by 3, branching effort is 3, okay, and fan out factor is what? Z by Y, okay. So that is Z we have already find out 1.5, Y we do not know yet, so 1.5 by Y, that means 4 by 3 logical effort, branching effort 3, and fan out factor is 1.5 by Y, so that gives me 4, because 4 is the optimal stage effort. So from here Y equal to 1.5, what is 1.5? That is the input capacitance of this NAND gate. So this is, then we get for the NAND gate all the 4 transistors are of equal width, so WN and WP means the NMOS transistor and PMOS size is 0.375 micrometer. And finally for G1, that is the NAND gate, this is logical effort is 4 by 3, branching effort is 2, because here it is branching out to 2, issuing out 2, number of emanating branches from the output of G1 is 2, so 4 by 3 into 2 into FO, that is 1.5 by X, so this gives me 4 and X we get to be 1. So here for this NAND gate say G1, the size of NMOS and PMOS happens to be 0.25, because CG into 2W plus 2W give me 1, right? So this completes today's discussion. Okay, so what we have discussed in today's lecture is that we have tried to optimize the paths using the concept of logical effort. Logical effort in the simplest term, it is nothing but the ratio of the time constant of the gate under consideration and the time constant of an inverter. Clear? So from that we get to calculate the logical effort of different gates, and in the normalized form the delay equation can be related in terms of the logical effort, fan out factor and parasitic terms. What is parasitic term? As you have seen, it is the product of logical effort and the gamma. Okay, so this is the entire delay term. This delay equation, it is normalized in terms of the tau of the inverter. Okay, and we tried to find out the answers to these 3 questions. So we calculated logical effort, parasitic terms, and from the logical effort and parasitic term we can get to know the entire delay. And logical effort we can calculate using 2 approach, using by equating the input capacitance we can calculate the ratio of the delay, whereas by equating the delay we can calculate the ratio of the input capacitance. And we tabulated the values of different logical effort for different gates. Then parasitic term we took up. Parasitic term is the ratio, the product of logical effort and gamma gate. So we calculated the parasitic term for different gates. Okay, you tabulated the values. Okay, you know, always remember that to calculate the parasitic term we have to depend on the self capacitance, and in order to calculate the self capacitance we need to draw a rough sketch or layout of the gates so that we can capture the shared source drain region. This is of utmost importance, please remember. Okay, otherwise we are liable to make error in calculating the self capacitance. And then path optimization using logical effort. So one good benefit of the logical effort concept is that without obtaining the individual transistor size we can get to know the delay of the total logical path if we know the logical effort and the parasitic term of all the gates. So having satisfied ourselves with the particular value of delay, then we can calculate the transistor size, and we obtain some geometrical interpretation of the logical effort. So the delay plot of the different gates we can perform on the knowledge of parasitic term and the parasitic term and the logical effort. Logical effort is the slope, whereas the parasitic term is the y-intercept. Okay, and one discussion on skewed inverter was there. Skewed inverter means it favors a particular favors transition in a particular direction. Here, for example, 1 by 1, it means it favors transition in the falling direction. And then what we discussed, we found the delay of multiple stage 8 input AND gate. In all 4 configurations are possible. We did only 2. The rest of the 2 you can take as a home task. You can find out what is the delay of the other 2 configurations and find out which one is the best of all the 4. And finally, the branching effort means not always there will be a single path through the logic circuit, but there can be branches. So that means at the output of I1, two branches are emanating out, and in this example we saw that from the output of G1 two branches emanate out, whereas from the output of G2 three branches emanate. So here the branching effort is 3, here the branching effort is 2. So it is now the branching effort will be the third entity apart from logical effort and fan out factor. So logical effort into FO into B for all the gates, okay, plus the parasitic terms, okay. So the total expression you need to find out. This is the path effort, pi into L into B into FO, okay, right. So that means having found out the optimal stage effort, you multiply it out with the stage effort and sum of the parasitic terms, so you get the total delay. And after you get that, depending on the value, if you work out from the back end, that means the final end output end, you can get to know the individual transistor size of the gates, okay. So that's all, dear friend. If you have got any question, you can write it on the chat window, or you can send me the questions by email. I'll be happy to answer. Any doubt, please do not hesitate, let me know overall. Okay, thank you, dear friends.